Our next presentation is about a software that has been mentioned throughout the day, here to give you a strong understanding of ChainBridge and what it's all about, ChainSafe's very own Polina Aladina with ChainBridge 101. Polina, why don't you join me on the main stage here?
Hey.
There you go. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. How are you, Dustin?
I'm doing excellent. Well, the floor is all yours, so enjoy.
Thank you so much. Let me try and share my presentation. Pardon for the background noises. I have a dog. Okay, I hope you see my screen now. Just will check the chat for yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, awesome. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Polina, and I will tell you the awesome story of ChainBridge. But to start with, the main hero would be myself, for now at least. I was working in blockchain for about like 5 years and started with Ethereum when it was like around 13 or 17 bucks per ETH, and everything was really cheap and awesome and not stressful, and you can just deploy everything on mainnet and be happy. And do tokens easy and all the things. And then came the DAO, and then came the ICO wave, and then all of us got the feel the need for scaling. And the product that I was working on was a decentralized exchange. And it it hit us rather bad because the limited volume of transaction, and they cost a lot. They take a long time to happen. It wasn't cool at all. Also, CryptoKitties happened. And the solution that we thought would make a lot of sense is just get exchange deployed on another public network that is scalable. However, having all the assets, like if you see the graph on the right, having all the assets on Ethereum mainnet implied the need for the bridge. And we didn't really find a solution back then. And somewhere around exactly that time, like ChainSafe R&D showed that a lot of projects were interested in bridging. So ChainSafe started building a bridge. And sometime after that, I've joined this awesome company, ChainSafe, and I see that they believe in open source and drive the most awesome stack of projects possible, well, from my perspective. And yeah, basically the infrastructural support for Web3. And what an exciting news was to hear that I'll be managing development of exactly the bridge that we wanted back then, but now in ChainSafe. And yeah, the first version was a bit glitchy and very alpha version. We were looking into interoperability right away, but obviously started with EVM support because, well, all the side chains back then were Ethereum side chains. And this is how started the vision of an ideal bridge. And so the ideal bridge is a decentralized bridge that can be accessed anytime with will not have one point of failure and should be easy to integrate with new chains, and transactions also should be very secure and very provable. However, it should not be a blockchain of all blockchains because, yeah, it very much sounds like a blockchain to me, at least. So let's do like a small dive, not a super deep dive, on how does the bridge works. And we have two blockchains over here, yellow and white one. And we need to pass messages between them or transactions. So we're adding a layer to do that. And so even better, let's maybe add 3 relayers. So we don't have one point of failure, and we can also add a multi-sig. So we have more additional security and it works smoothly. And to make those relayers actually pass messages, we need to make them work with the chains on the left and on the right. And how do we do that? So how would bridge chain-specific components look? So we have a blockchain and a relayer. Relayer has a chain module with 3 components, which is connection, listener, and writer. So connection allows you connect to chain, like nodes. And when you're passing a message from one chain to another, you will need to get it from one chain and write on another. So that's why listener specifies what events to listen to and how to handle them, while writer is actually lets you get those event processed and put it on the blockchain. So on the blockchain side, you see that there's like a set of bridge smart contracts or analog like that, for example, pallets on Polkadot. And that side, you will need to implement like bridge logic in the chain itself. And that part will be emitting events that will eventually be listened by the relayer. So for example, when you transfer tokens from one blockchain to another, you have tokens deposited on one chain into the bridge contract, and you see the deposit event, and then you will need to mint those tokens on the other side of a chain. Here you have like listener and writer. So also, as our bridge is like a toddler, it's not fully decentralized, and right now it has a parent, and that is admin down below here. And admin is very chain specific and does all the needed configuration for the specific chain that it administers. For example, registers the relayers, configures methods for listener, and setups fees, also stops or resumes the bridge in case something happens, and so on. So let's see the insights for relayer. It's pretty simple, very much. You have an event going from the chain into listener. Listener have a handler that for each event, there is a handler who knows what to do with that event, and it puts event into message that can be understood by inside of the relayer, and that is a router. Then router checks the message and sees what it needs to do with it, what chain do they need to relay to, and so on, and then puts it to the writer. And then writer sends the transaction to the chain because writer knows how to send transaction to the chain. So here is how a little bit deeper dive on how the message is bridged. So on the blockchain side, there is a deposit method in bridge contract, and user called this method, and that emits the deposit event. And then relayer, we have, for example, 3 relayers, and we need 2 signatures to make something pass through the bridge. So relayers will listen to the deposit events. Once they detect an event, first relayer who detects the event will create a proposal on chain. The second one will vote for it because he sees the proposal created, he sees the deposit event, he will vote on it. And because we just need only 2 relayers for this specific case, then it will also finalize the proposal. Then, like returning to previous screen, the message will be handled and put into correct format, went through the router and go to the writer and send transaction on the other chain. And that's pretty much it. For example, we can do very specific example with token transfer. So to transfer a token, you first need to approve the bridge to transfer tokens for you, because as a user, you will call the deposit function of the bridge. So first you will send approval transaction, then you'll send transaction to call the deposit method of the bridge, and then the deposit method will emit the deposit event. Within the relayer, a relayer will detect the deposit event, create the proposal, other relayers will sign it. Then this will be 2 additional signatures, because signatures also happen on chain because they signed the proposal that is on chain. So we have 2 relayers in this case. That will be 2 more transactions with signatures. And then there will be the last transaction that is minting the tokens on the blockchain recipient. And that's how the bridge works. This is the bridge, and you can see that everything is pretty modular in here and should be pretty easy to understand. And with this kind of structure, you can see that, for example, if you want to add additional chain to the bridge, it's pretty easy to do because you just need to support this part of modules, and you have blockchain that you can just add up to existing bridges. So the integrations that we're supporting right now, if you want to use our bridge, is everything that is EVM compatible. You can just get our stack of contracts and use the bridge out of the box. Same for the Polkadot parachains. We have a substrate palette. You can just go and use it directly. And just a short summary of what was told here. Sorry for my notifications. To add your chain to the bridge, you'll basically implement the chain-specific component, that is connection, listener, writer, and on-chain contracts. You also include the handlers for your specific contracts within the listener and writer. Then, you will need to set up the relayers that you want. For example, would you want multisig 2 out of 3 or 5 out of 10, and so on and so on. you will have admin per chain. So for example, if you have a bridge from, I don't know, Cody to Girly, as we have on our test networks, we will have one admin on Cody and one admin on Girly. So you need to be careful with that. And yeah, you can bridge pretty much anything. We have handler implementations for specifically token transfers, which is very Ethereum. But yeah, for example, for Polkadot, you can pretty much bridge anything. And generic handler allows for any arbitrary message bridging or whatever additional logic you can implement. Okay, so our bridge right now has version 1, which is fully audited. If you just Google like ChainBridge audit, you will find it by diligence. In practice, first one will be the centrifuge. It supports NFT tokens and also passes arbitrary messages to their parachain. And it doesn't really have a UI, and it is within the centrifuge infrastructure. So this graph actually shows the centrifuge infrastructure and bridges over here. So, you know, we also have recently launched the EDC bridge. So it is able to pass the wrapped EDC from Ethereum Classic to Ethereum mainnet and trade them on Ethereum mainnet and backwards. And here's just a kind of screencast from our test run for them. And yeah, you can try it out yourself. I'll have links a little bit later. Additionally, we have a bunch of bridges that are in development. We'll also have talks from Edgeware and Ampleforth a little bit later, maybe, tomorrow or day after. You can definitely check out those. And yeah, we have, I suppose, way more bridges in development that we know, because there's at least like 28 forks in the moment of our repository. This is pretty much this is the ones that I know of, for example. So awesome. If you want to actually add your chain, what should you do? First of all, check out our documentation, check out the repo, check out testnet bridge. If you like it or not, you can just click through the UI and see how awesome does it work. And documents cover pretty much all the basics that were included in the presentation and a little bit more. If you're really interested, go see the repo and everything else. If you run into some questions or if you want some help with development, feel free to reach out. The info at ChainSafe.io managed by me, so not my personal email, just right out there. Also, if you have like really a lot of questions and you need like very synchronous answer, it's a very good idea to jump at our Discord. All the QRs are like just showing the links. So drop by the Discord, we'll answer questions as we see them. And all right, one more thing. We're hiring. So if you want to work at ChainBridge, specifically or ChainSafe, please come and join our awesome team. And at this awesome point, thanks everyone for your attention. I'll stop sharing my screen and I'm ready for your questions.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Polina. What a great overview of ChainBridge. I cannot wait to see the future progress of this project. Such an exciting time.
Great.
We do have a question for you in the Q&A. What are some of the biggest challenges working with bridging different blockchains?
Oh, that's a good question. I would gladly ask David to answer it. I guess with different chains, there is oftentimes edge cases with what libraries you use, what kind of dependencies you have, because ChainBridge is actually a lot of DevOps work. So you should know about that. Also, there's not so much troubles, for example, with consensus, but there can be problems with how do you sign the messages, for example, or how do you verify like inclusion, or what would be the block time for a specific chain. So that will be like somehow overview of the challenges that we usually have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have one more question for you. What chain do you personally What is a chain you personally would like to have compatibility with?
Well, to be honest, I'm waiting for Cosmos SDK. So we're planning to deploy Ethermint soon. And yeah, afterwards, we'll be researching the Cosmos SDK. That's going to be fun.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Polina. I know you're busy. Thank you so much for taking the time to educate us all on ChainBridge.